أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This week, for our thought of the week, we have a bit of a lengthy tradition to go through. But its length is obviously due to its importance. And its importance is on us as human beings, as Muslims, as believers, and things that we will be questioned about on the Day of Judgment. You know, when you look at the entire review and synopsis of the Day of Judgment, whether it's within the ayat of the Quran, the verses of the Book of God, or the sayings of the Prophet and his 14 infallibles, we have an understanding that there will be many things that you and I will be questioned about on the Day of Resurrection. Obviously, our individual actions are first and foremost at that list of what we will be asked about. How we dealt with, our own personal selves, how we dealt with others, how we dealt with God. And all of these really will be, stages to go through on the Day of Resurrection. There are a lot of things obviously spoken about, and it's obviously not possible to enumerate everything that will happen on the Day of Judgment. But suffice it to mention that we're told that there are 50 stages on the Day of Judgment. And each stage, each sojourn in that journey will take us 1,000 years to traverse. So if you do the math, that means there are 50,000 years in the Day of Judgment. So there's a lot of accounting to take into account, to be answerable for. A lot of things will be happening on that day. Today in the tradition, let us look at 4 of the things that we will be asked about. And that hopefully this can prepare us from now to meet our eventual fate. In this beautiful tradition from the infallibles, we read the following. A servant of God will be asked about 4 things on the resurrection day before he can move forward. How he spent his lifetime, what he used his youth for, how he earned his income and how he spent it, and about his love for us, the members of the holy household, the family of the Prophet. As we see in this tradition, the Day of Judgment will be something of great importance. Many things will be asked. We will have to be we'll be accounting for many different things in our lives. This tradition points to 4 things. One is our lifetime. How did we spend our life? Did we spend it in vain pursuits? Did we spend it in search of money, of power, of fame, of authority? Did we dedicate our life just to materialism and capitalism? Or did we give our life for the service of humanity, to better our society, to better our community, to better humanity on a whole? We will be asked about this on the Day of Resurrection, on the Day of Judgment. We're also going to be asked about our youth, how we spent the time of our youth period. And obviously this is one of the most important periods of a human being, is that period of the youth. Now, obviously people of many eras have asked, what is the period? What is the age bracket? Is it 13 to 25? Is it, 17 to 30? Is it 18 to 40? What is that period? We don't really have a comprehensive answer with numbers that we can put on the youth. But we have to understand that that time that we are considered our youth, we are considered youth in our own era, we need to make the most of it. So whether it's, let's say, at the age of 15, 16, once young men and women are becoming more of age and understanding, and they're being able to formulate opinions and thoughts and understandings of the world, and maybe up until 30, 35, 40, when they're building up and maturing and advancing, maybe we consider that the period of the youth. Whatever the case may be, the point here is not to quantify that, but to say that how do you use that period? Is it merely spent watching hockey on television? Is it spent playing on your video games till the odd hours of the morning? Is it spent in frivolous activities which have no benefit? Or is the period of the youth used in the best way it can? Now I'm not saying don't play sports. That's an important part of our life. I'm not saying don't play video games, because we all need to unwind and relax and just have some chill time on our own. That's also an aspect of religion. But we need to be serious, especially when the young men and women are growing up, that they make the most of that opportunity of their youth to do whatever it is that they can do for their own betterment. The third portion of the hadith says that what we will be questioned about is our income, how we earned it, and where we spent it. And that's why it's such an important discussion to have with our youth especially, and also everybody within our Muslim community, of how we are earning our money. Are we in professions which are impermissible? Do we have a business which is selling illicit goods? Do we engage in transactions or selling, for example, things that are not allowed to be sold? We have to be very careful not only of where we get our money from, but as the hadith says, how we spend our money. We'll be questioned on both ends, where the source of the income is and where it was expended. Something to think about before we go and waste money and blow our paycheck on things which are not going to benefit us and which may actually cause us more grief on the Day of Judgment. And last but not least, the hadith says, our love, how we dealt with the Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet. Because we know as Muslims, no matter what persuasion we follow, that the Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet, and these are defined specific individuals, a specific aspect or branch of the family of the Prophet, that we have to love, honor, cherish, and respect. And how we deal with them. Do we deal with them as previous generations did, by imprisoning them, by poisoning them, by committing crimes against them? Or do we honor their legacy? Do we follow them? Do we read about them? Do we honor their events that mark important, significant milestones in their own life? We have to ensure that we follow the Prophet and his family, give them the love and the respect that they don't need from us, but that we are obligated to show to them, as the Quran has shown us to love and respect the family of the Prophet. So as we close, let us remember as we begin this new week, that how we deal with these four aspects, because we will be asked about these on the Day of Judgment before we are allowed to take even one step forward towards our eventual home, which I pray for all of us is paradise. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.